Welcome into the 49ers Report on Chat Sports. I am Chase Sr., and today's show is made possible thanks to our friends at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com/49ers and enter the promo code 49ers, and you get 20% off plus free shipping on the best men's grooming products, including the brand new Lawnmower 4.0, which I used before today's show to give myself a nice little shape up to be looking good for all of you here on the 49ers Report. All right, let's get into the latest Julio Jones trade drama. According to Diana Rossini, the Falcons have a Julio Jones trade offer on the table potentially for a future first-round pick. A pretty steep price if you ask me. And according to reports, the 49ers are not offering a 2022, a 2023 first-round pick. But Rossini went on to say in that report that Julio Jones could be traded as early as next week. And if it happens, you know we already have you covered here on Chat Sports. And if it's to the 49ers, we're going to push out a video for sure. Here's what Diana Rossini said on Twitter. The Atlanta Falcons have discussed several trade offers for Julio, including an offer for a future first-round draft pick per sources. There is a sense around the league that a trade could go down as early as next week. But Eric Branch, who works for the San Francisco Chronicle, reached out to some sources within the 49ers organization, and he put this out on Twitter in response to Diana Rossini's tweet, saying, "My sources are telling me the 49ers are not offering a 2022 first-round pick or a 2023 first-rounder. If it's up to me, I think you go second or third rounder. I'm not giving up a first-round pick for a 32-year-old wide receiver, even though he is headed for the NFL Hall of Fame." Earlier this week, OTAs are in session for the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan was speaking to the media, and some media members asked him about Julio, and he didn't necessarily close the door on Julio coming to San Francisco and reuniting with Kyle Shanahan. Here's what Shanny had to say, quote, "Well, you know, I'm not legally allowed to talk about players on other teams, so I can't answer that exactly the way you want me to. Anyone I've coached in the past that I have a relationship with, especially a great dude like Julio, obviously I have a ton of respect for. We're always interested in improving our team. We'll never just say, hey, we're done. We can't improve our team. We always try to make that happen, but yeah, it makes it harder when you've already given up some stuff to make some moves and things like that." That is Kyle Shanahan on Julio Jones without directly addressing Julio Jones because, yeah, tampering. This is not the NBA. So for my 49ers fans watching right now, what is the percentage chance that the 49ers make a deal to bring Julio Jones to Santa Clara so that he's catching balls from either Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance? Get your percentage figure in the comment section below. I think it's around a 30% chance. I think a team like the Tennessee Titans is going to try to make a deal for him. You see A.J. Brown clearly campaigning for Julio, his idol, to be traded to the Titans. And if you think about it, Shanahan just alluded to it, the 49ers have already given up future draft capital, and they have been aggressive to move up to number 3 to select Trey Lance. They don't have as many picks in the future because of that trade, which hurts their chances, in my opinion, of landing the 7-time Pro Bowler. But there's no doubt that the 7-time Pro Bowler is still at the top of his game, and he's been doing it for a really long time. He has the most completion yards per game in NFL history, and over the last several seasons, he's been cooking. 2017, more than 1,000 yards. That was the same story in 2018, almost 1,700 yards. In 2019, 1,300 plus yards, and last year only played 9 games, but still almost 800 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns in an injury-plagued season. If the 49ers want to bring in Julio Jones, they're either going to have to trade away draft capital, or would they have to part ways with either Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk? I don't like the prospects of doing that because I think both of these guys are studs. Deebo Samuel, injury-shortened season in 2020, but as a rookie in 2019 in that Super Bowl year, he was fantastic. 57 receptions, north of 800 yards, and 3 touchdowns. His ability to pick up yards after the catch is truly elite. Last year, Brandon Ayuk also dealt with some injury issues. Hello, it was the 49ers last year, but still was a very productive player. 60 receptions, 748 yards, and 5 touchdowns. I still am remembering him hurdling that Philadelphia Eagles defender. So if I'm Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, I don't want to trade away Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel for Julio Jones. They are cheaper, they are younger, they are explosive, they understand this offense, and while Julio Jones is still an elite wide receiver in this league, injuries are starting to pile up a little bit. And he is also 32 years old, and he is much more expensive than those aforementioned young studs. So if the 49ers trade for Julio Jones, we're going to break it down here on the 49ers Report. So be sure that you are subscribed, because we're probably going to do a live show. How do you subscribe? You see that link at the bottom of your screen. Head there. It's youtube.com/49erstv, or hit that big red subscribe button down below. We're bringing you the latest news and rumors. And if a Julio Jones trade does go down, we're going to break it down here on the 49ers Report. Niner gang is really excited about Jalen Hurd, and deservedly so, because at Baylor, he was a really good player, but injuries have just crushed him in his first 2 NFL seasons since being drafted in the 3rd round out of Baylor in 2019. You know who's really excited to possibly play with him? It's Jimmy Garoppolo. This past week in OTAs, he said, quote, "I am dying to get Jalen Hurd back on the field." I talk about those injury issues for the former 3rd round pick, back injury as a rookie, ACL injury last year in training camp, so he hasn't really played at all for the Niners. But if he's able to stay healthy, he could really shine as a wide receiver 3, because right now on the roster, he could be the best big-bodied wide receiver. Here's what Garoppolo had to say about Hurd. Jay's come a long way. He really has in his route running, just developing his body and becoming a pro. I mean, the guy does it the right way. I'm dying to get him out there right now. I really am. He's such a physical freak. Just the things that he can do in his route running with the ball in his hands, it's very, very impressive. So Brandon Aiyuk, Deebo Samuel are obviously wide receiver 1 and 2 on this roster. But Jalen Hurd has a golden opportunity at hand to really prove himself this year. The back injury cost him his rookie season. The ACL injury cost him his 2nd season. But for the 49ers receiving core, we've talked so much about them needing to bring in a tall, physically dominant wide receiver. They don't really have one on the roster. Jalen Hurd is that. So he could be a guy who could rise up in end zone situations, red zone situations, and just be that guy on the outside who can make plays downfield and have that physical nature, bringing that to the 49ers offense that they currently don't have at the wide receiver spot. And the 49ers liked him coming out of Baylor because of his athleticism. He started his career at Tennessee. He was a former running back as well, so the athleticism, the dynamic ability is certainly there. So too were the numbers at Baylor. This is a peek at what he's capable of doing. In 2018, 69 receptions, 946 yards, average yards per catch, almost at 14 and 4 touchdowns as well. And if he can stay on the field, I think he factors into being the wide receiver 3 on this roster really nicely, and that turns into a versatile and deep group in addition to Deebo Samuel, Brandon Aiyuk, Jalen Hurd, Richie James. You have River Craycraft. Benny Fowler was also brought in too. Jawan Jennings. This is a wide receiver core that could use some depth, but also a jump ball type of wide receiver, and that is exactly what Jalen Hurd is. Jimmy Garoppolo said it himself. He's so physically dominant out there, and that's what Jalen Hurd has really brought to the practice field, not the game field, because those injuries have cost him so much time. So I think if Jalen Hurd is able to play this year, he could be productive, because much of the focus for opposing defenses is going to be on Aiyuk or on Samuel. How many touchdowns do you think he'd be able to score in 2021 if he stays on the field? Let me know in the comment section down below. If he plays a full campaign, I'm going with 3 or 4, and I think Kyle Shanahan would be happy with that. 49ers Report is made possible thanks to our friends at Manscaped. So this is what I want you to do right now. Go to manscaped.com/49ers and simply enter the promo code 49ers. You get 20% off plus free shipping on all of the best men's grooming products, including the brand new Lawnmower 4.0, which is popped up on your screen right here. If you want to give yourself a shape up, trim up your hair, your beard, or even yourself down below so that you're not scary for your lady, hey, the Lawnmower 4.0 can take care of that, and it's currently on sale with that link down below that I have in the comment section as well as in the description. 4 interchangeable blades, a battery life that lasts forever, a light so that you can really see what you're doing, and if you drop it in your toilet, because sometimes that happens, let's be honest, it is also waterproof. So no worries right there. The technology on this thing is absolutely ridiculous. So once again, manscaped.com/49ers. Enter the promo code 49ers. You get 20% off plus free shipping on the best men's grooming products, the same men's grooming products that your San Francisco 49ers use. 49ers are trying out a former linebacker who was really a stud with the Denver Broncos. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Brandon Marshall worked out today for the Niners. Could he join forces with linebacker Fred Warner, who's due to really secure the bag and get a contract extension hopefully in the coming weeks? That is a possibility. Now, Brandon Marshall has not played since 2018, but he has made it known that he has some gas left in the tank. Didn't play the last 2 seasons, but really wants to play because he thinks he has something to prove. Last played for the Denver Broncos back in 2018. He would definitely be a depth piece for this defense. Don't expect him to come in and start right away. He also has special teams ability as well. And here's a look at what he's possibly capable of in DeMeco Ryans' scheme in 2018. 42 tackles, 0 tackles for loss, 0 sacks, only 1 pass breakup. But in 2017, this guy was somewhat of a machine. He was wreaking havoc all across the field. Now, I don't think he's as bad as 2018. I don't think he's as good as 2017. And at this point, this was 4 years ago, but in 2017, north of 100 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, so he's pretty active in the backfield. You can kind of use him in a variety of ways, dropping back in pass coverage as well as in the run game too. The 3 sacks is evidence of that, 1 forced fumble as well. So Brandon Marshall, if he can come in and be a depth piece, he can contribute on special teams and just kind of aid Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. Maybe it's a nice addition, a good depth piece who really comes on the cheap because 49ers honestly are not going to pay him all that much. So what do you think? Should the 49ers sign Brandon Marshall? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Get your votes in the comment section below. Azeez Al-Shaair, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, those are the guys in DeMeco Ryans' defense that are obviously going to be starting for this team. Where would Brandon Marshall factor into the equation? I think after guys like Nate Gary, who the 49ers signed after a stint with the Philadelphia Eagles, a converted safety after he played his college ball at Nebraska, is Elijah Sullivan, Justin Hilliard. Are they going to be able to make the roster as UDFAs? Maybe Brandon Marshall, if he is signed, is going to provide veteran competition against some of those inexperienced UDFAs. But for a guy who hasn't played since 2018 and is currently 31 years old, I put his chances of making the 53-man roster somewhat low. 49ers obviously have to sign him to a contract first, but if it's just a depth piece, it could be useful because he does have some veteran experience, and as we saw back in 2017, he was a pretty productive player. So speaking of this 49ers linebacking room, with Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, I think it's one of the best in the league. I think All-Pro Fred is the best linebacker in the NFL, but grade the 49ers linebacker room for me, A, B, C, D, or F. I'm going to go ahead and say A, but let me know what you think.